Or they show up in person very nattily attired.
Thomas Pressley is the incoming state representative. Hard-fought campaign. You did a great job out on the campaign trail. Good job.
Thank you.
Going to be hard to maintain that 90% approval rating, but maybe you're the guy.
You're going to be sworn in on Monday. You're my guy, as you know, and we need to talk to you, introduce ourselves, and what are your priorities as you go down to Baton Rouge and raise your right hand and swear to take care of Aaron McCarty?
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for having me in today. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on the radio. My priorities are pro-growth and pro-growth opportunities for the state of Louisiana, and particularly Northwest Louisiana. We're in a position right now in Caddo Parish where we are down approximately 13,000 people since the last census. Those are the projected numbers. Bossier is up, but hasn't reached the 13,000 number. So for our region, we're down, and I think part of that is the vision of Louisiana has been one that, and this dates back to Huey Long, that everyone comes to Baton Rouge for the answers, and what we need to do is give more local control and let the locals and the individual peoples have an opportunity to drive their businesses and moving forward.
Where do you sit in this big battle over who's going to be the House Speaker? Do you think that the dust is settled on that yet, or do you think Monday we're in for a humdinger?
I think the dust is settled. The Republican caucus has voted for Sherman Mack as our official designee for Speaker. Sherman is a good state representative. He's been in there for 8 years. This will be his third and final term in the House. We're term limited for 3 terms, as you know. So Sherman's been a fighter. He's been the chair of the Criminal Justice Committee, and I think he's well positioned to be a leader when it comes to tax reform, when it comes to tort reform, when it comes to moving our state forward and working with the Senate and with the governor to make sure that we have pro-growth policies in place to move our state forward.
A vast Republican majority in both sides of the legislature, Senate and House. That being the case, are you concerned about infighting? Are you concerned about that Republicans may have too much and want it all, or what's going on behind the scenes?
So there is a big majority in the House.
Yeah.
There's 68 members of the House that are Republicans. In the Senate, there is a supermajority. We're too shy in the House of a supermajority. But I think you have to have the players at the table that are having the conversation. And with having Governor Edwards be there for another 4 years, it's important that we put forth pro-growth legislation that will move our state forward in a direction that I believe is helpful to the state. For one, the inventory tax, I think we need to get rid of. It's driving jobs and opportunities from our region to East Texas and to other parts of the state. When you're looking at tort reform, the fact that we can't talk about seatbelts and whether a seatbelt was used during a car accident, if you go to a civil jury trial or a civil trial generally, is crazy. We need to have the opportunity to do that, and those are things that are driving our insurance rates up.
Would you say that the tort reform and the one you mentioned before that? I'm sorry,
Tax.
I had a vodka yesterday, and are the two biggest priorities going as you guys begin the session next week?
I do. I think those are the two biggest priorities. Obviously, it's major. The census being here in 2020, that's something that we all need to be talking about and something that we all need to make sure that we fill out because the census is how we do redistricting. We'll redistrict in 2021 for the elections, congressional elections in 2022, and for our state elections in 2023. But those are important so that we can make sure that we have proper representation and that the funding is there from the feds to give the state of Louisiana what we need.
Thomas Pressley, incoming state representative in the Shreveport-Bossier area. You mentioned pro-growth. Thomas, I want my money back. If we have a budget surplus, give me my money back. I can spend that money in the economy, and that promotes and stimulates growth.
Absolutely does.
Will you support bills to roll back these taxes that we implemented because we had a fiscal cliff?
Yeah, we have a
What was
budget
that
surplus.
word again?
Cliff. What's crazy, Aaron, right now is, we have a budget surplus, and there are 4 ways that we can spend that money, and one of those ways is not giving it back to the people that paid the tax. the additional tax, which is crazy. But we do need to look at tax reform, and we do need to cut taxes in the state. We're driving business away from the state by having these high taxes. Sales tax in particular is high as well. We have the highest or second highest in the nation on sales tax. But when you look at car insurance rates, we're paying $900 a year for a family, more than the average person in the United States. That's an additional tax in my eyes, and it's put in place by the bad policies that are in place right now on the tort side.
I-49 inner city connector is a hot topic in this community.
It is, and it's vitally important.
And
Do you guys have anything? Is there anything that the state legislature can do, or is it all in the hands of the feds?
So a big part of it's in the hands of the feds. The legislature last term, as you know, allocated $100 million towards that project, and it's incumbent on us to work with our federal partners, with Senator Kennedy and with Senator Cassidy and Congressman Johnson, to ensure that they know that it's a priority, and I know they do. But it's important that we continue to work on that, as well as the Jimmy Davis Bridge.
That's on my list,
That's
too.
obviously in our neck of the woods. It's very important to be able to connect South Bossier with South Shreveport, and it's an important issue.